some patterns and things like that, and widen it out. And it comes out to what we call the bioregion. And that's the basic. All this have to be included in one concept for your whole existence, which you call the bioregion. That you are able to define yourself into this, into your own existence, into your needs, into your need for resources, for the aspect of your life, you know, for the basic ones. I mean, you can import something. Denmark, we would like to import coffee anyway and things like that. There would be machinery we want to. But the basics is that you should be able to exist here. If all your external connections break down, you should provide a situation where you are able to stay here. There will be later on, there will be a bioregion seminar on how permacultures we have done a study for this whole region, for Zealand and southern part of Sweden, where we can be sustainable. We can sustain ourselves on these 4 elements in an ecological way, if we want to. We have to take decisions about it, but it is possible. So, and that's how I think that activists should, I mean, there's a long period here now we have to work, you know, how, you know, changing, try to push the system, change the system, how to show how bad the systems are, and that's the activist's job to do. But then I think the activists have to slowly move into grassroots to make the actual change, for that is the actual one who changes the society. That's how, from after the breakdown of the Roman Empire, that in the Mediterranean, that people survived, how they sustained, how they actually for a great degree regenerated it. Some of the forests during the Middle Age, some of the forests that the Romans have cut down, they actually regenerated, and they started a whole new era, and that was the era that came out as the Renaissance and the industrialism, but where we could actually take the resources again, and we got new resources through that Middle Age period to build up in the industrialized periods for that. Yeah. Any questions, arguments, or whatever? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an original, hardcore, stuck-in-a-box scientist who has come to believe that what you're saying is absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay.
How do, and I work at the University of Iceland now, I used to work in universities in Britain. How do we get this sort of thinking into the whole education system?
I mean, education systems, my experience is that they work by examples. You know, if children, if adults, whatever education system, if what you're telling them, if they're going to believe it, they should be able to see it. I mean, if they don't have...
You need to be a role model yourself, in other words.
You don't have to be yourself, but you have to have some connections to where you can see it, you know. You have to have some... And they, in all countries, you know, there are examples of this, you know. And then take the children out there, go out there, and record it, you know, and show it for the children, show it for the adults and things like that. I mean, in Iceland you have examples of that too. You have such an example of that.
Do I?
Yeah, I have such an example. It's a village.
Solheim. It's Solheim. Yeah. But it's not. It's a special community.
It's a special community, but they are still working on establishing this.
Okay.
I mean, we can have all our spiritual attitudes inside, but the basic thing are that we are establishing the ecological resources. You know, they're doing that. Yeah.
But we need to do it in Reykjavik too.
And you are going to do? Yeah, you have to do it.
Yes.
Will you go down and see what we have been doing here in this area?
I would love to. Yes.
Yeah.
With today's society being so globalized,
Pardon?
Today's society is so globalized,
Yeah.
especially with technologies like internet and everything like that.
Yeah.
So how do we take your theories of a bioregion and implement those without becoming isolationist and at the same time supporting the global industry that we live in?
We cannot do that just without referring to the global structure, you know. And that's why we here in the part of this whole venue here, we are working on a declaration. I don't know if you have seen that, but that we are. And that's a declaration that is going to United Nations. That we are saying that this, what they are doing out there, for a lot of reasons, are worthless. I mean, we agree with one of the scientists, James Hansen, who say no deal is better than a bad deal. I mean, it's ridiculous, actually, what they are doing out there. They have whole bases, the evaluation system is messed up and things like that. So therefore we are saying that they have to set a criteria that makes that happening. Things like that's happening. And we are claiming it for two. They have to serve what I told the land issue. How to get land. Well, I talked about the Iberian model. How that people should be able to occupy not used land, you know, for projects like this. They should be supported by money, and we are proposing a tax, a CO2 tax, instead of quotas, and they should be distributing those monies according to bioregional structures.
But isn't that creating a sectorism in a sense?
No, because when we get it into, we are making a sector for cross-sectorial systems. And that's a way to get money in this world. But the money had to go into systems like this. Because they are the ones that can regenerate. You can go to my lecture on 10,000 trees. I'll explain it there. That's part of that. Because here we are doing the regenerative structure. Here people can get food security. Here they can catch carbon in the big scale. You know, here they can provide themselves, you know, with all the kind of services that you need. If you get to be self-sustained, and if you have if you have your own what do you call it? Basic democracy, if it works like that. And that's what we are trying. I mean, nobody knows if we succeed, but that's what we are trying. Yeah.
It seems there would be a transition period between what you're aspiring to and where we are today. Is it possible to work with the current food production system, plantations, whereby the managers put plantings within their managed lands so that they create biodiversity? The issue of ownership of land and self-sufficiency is something else, but you can improve the biodiversity and the health of the planet within the existing industrial model. Can you help?
Yeah, that's true, and that's often how we work, you know, in permaculture. You know, we take a situation, and it can be a plantation. It can be there's a lot of fruit plantations around. Who is here? The European here in Denmark it was too. It was run down because the European Union said we only have to buy food from southern part of Europe, so they would not support the ones here in Denmark. So there is a lot of rundown fruit plantation, and then people move in, and then they work for diversified, different kind of. They even have timber trees in Finland that they make corns, you know. But they are still using the original fruits. They're cutting some of them probably.
But you said people moved into these abandoned.
Abandoned, yeah.
Okay, but I'm talking about the actual industrial food managers who see it's in their interest to not grow a single crop, but in a sense look after a larger ecosystem, still be viable in producing what they're producing.
They can do that, but the problem if you're not, it's your own situation you're providing. If you're using it as an industrial situation, if you're still trying to use it industrially, it is very difficult because then you run into management problems. You know, you have to have. It is difficult for them to harvest in a proper way. It's difficult because it's mixtures and things like that. But we are trying to use systems. We are trying to develop systems like this. Yes.
I think there has to be a transition period.
Yeah.
What you're asking for is it's an aspirational model. There has to be something in between.
Yeah, there have to be, and it's gradual. And we have a lot of gradual examples of that. Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to go back to the example that you mentioned about Palestinians.
Pardon? I don't understand.
I'd like to go back to the example that you mentioned about Israel and Palestine, about the suicide bombing you said. And you named them a tourism. I mean, how come this comes to permaculture? I know about permaculture since 1993, and we never mention politics or conflict.